Well, there you go. Button caught me again. I was actually looking at another screen. How are you? Good Sunday morning. Let me get Jeff in here. Jeff, I thought I had made you the host. So Jeff will be logging in here. There he is. I'll have to unmute him. Let's see over here. Unmute. Hey, buddy, can you hear us?
I can. How are you?
Hey, we can hear you.
Excellent.
Let me make sure it's just not my headphones. I got to get you up on the volume. So bear with us as we adjust my headphones. How are you, Jeff? Talk to us while I'm in here messing with this stuff.
I'm doing well, Wayne. Glad to be here. Fighting off a little bit of a sore throat, but I can't complain.
You're not getting that flu that's going around, are you?
No, I'm not.
Good, 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 good. I have heard people are, here we go. Now speak to me again. Say hello.
Hello there.
Hey, now I can hear you. Wow.
Excellent.
See, I was going to have to do the sign language. How are you?
That'd be tough because I don't know any of it.
Oh, well. Hey, so how are you, my friend?
Doing well, doing well. Glad to be here. Glad to have another Sunday morning.
Excellent. You know, we already got a full chat room, buddy.
That is good news.
So, how are you? We've missed you, and a lot of people have been asking and concerned, and I keep telling them that you're fine. But I'm glad you're here, and we've missed you, buddy.
Yeah, YouTube decided that I had a copyright strike, and it's not like our system of jurisprudence. You don't get a chance to face your accuser because I can't even figure out who the accuser is. And your choices are either try to contact that accuser or open up a process that starts a fight and take the chance of losing your channel permanently. So, and they've got me on YouTube timeout for 3 months from live shows.
Wow.
So I am doing some live shows on Twitter, and I'm, of course, putting up recorded shows on YouTube.
How is Twitter? I mean, how is that format?
Well, I have 115,000 followers there.
Brandon. Well, thank you.
I don't know what it really means because I've never seen any real practical application of it except getting to know a lot of nice people. So it's certainly not a place where you're going to sell anything. I'll tell you that much for sure.
Well, Jeff, you are part of the community, and listen, you have a voice here, always will, and so we will deal with it, and we'll make the very best of it. I think you're going to come out further ahead.
I do. I mean, I've been asking for ways, and sometimes, the old adage, be careful what you ask for. But I've been asking myself, even before I go to sleep and throughout the day, how can I, migrate some of these 115,000 folks from Twitter over to YouTube?
Yeah,
happens. So here's one answer.
There you go. No, you see, that would put you in Rex's territory. So
yeah, if they all decided to, but I mean, even if 10% of them decide to come over and check out the YouTube channel, that's a doubling of my channel size right now.
Well, that would be tally ho.
So I say overall it's going to be a positive thing, and I'm in a phase right now where it looks like the universe has decided that it's time for me to learn some things and make some improvements and knock off some rough edges. And it's a growth process, and that's not always entirely comfortable on the surface or from what we can see. So it's like a duck. He looks pretty calm on top of the water, but underneath he's churning like hell.
So true, my friend. Listen, I want to give a shout out to Brandon for that donation. Thank you. It's
excellent.
Right before we get things, the chat room is just filling up. Want to give a shameless plug to our good friend Davey. Goes by the handle Expanding the Process, and Davey is expanding the process. Be talking with him on Tuesday for the European show. He says, myself and DJ Ransom, which I was on DJ's show last night, will be doing our first show later today, 7 p.m. my time. I guess that would be what here? Noon?
I'm not sure how that works.
Let's see. Davey, are you 5-6 hours ahead of East Coast? Let's see. Okay, well, give us what your time is. And anyway, the program's called Sunday Chill with Ransom and Davey, an hour of fun music and interactive chat. Which, hey, these are good people, and thank you, GJ, for having me on last night as your guest. And Davey, best of success to you on that. And Davey is also starting a nonprofit, and we're going to get more into that a little bit later. Something, Jeff, just to let you know, over on my channel, I told all of my subscribers that if they have a business, that all they need to do is send me something about their business. I'll show their website, Facebook page, and so that's part of the process as well. I think,
I saw that. That's excellent.
Good. So before we get off here, I'll let the chat room build up. I've got, seriously, can you see this?
I can.
This is how many people who have responded to this, Jeff.
Excellent.
So my friend, I'm going to give you a platform and talk about what's been going on. I mean, what have you found out in the world, and what's just, where do you see things happening?
Well, I think, we had the show with Rex and we all made some predictions, and it'll be interesting to see. That was the New Year's Eve show. It'll be interesting to see how those pan out over the year, but I'm convinced it's going to be a good year. I know I'm somewhat in a minority for believing that, but I think it is going to be a really good year. I've got a couple of new ideas that are tickling around in my head that I think are going to be very, very interesting for folks. But I am excited that it's a new year of new growth, new opportunities. And we are, I'm convinced, the last generation of real humans. And it is time for us to get busy. But it doesn't mean you're not going to have any difficulties when you start trying to move on. In fact, sometimes it's almost the converse of that. When you really start trying to do something, that's when you're going to encounter some resistance. But if you think about climbing a mountain, it's very, very difficult to climb a completely smooth mountain. But if you have a crack here, if you have a hole there, if you have something that juts out over here, even though they seem to be uncomfortable, that's the only way you can climb up the mountain. So just because we're advancing doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but we can do it if we keep ourselves focused. And if we do remember we're the last generation of real humans, we do need to get busy. And I would just encourage everybody to use this new year, which is somewhat artificial, and it's and the time they have it set up, but just get to the place where you realize, hey, whatever, my past does not equal my future. I still have time to decide who I want to be. I still have time to find my great basic purpose and live for it. I still have time to stop existing and start living and to create myself and build a life that I'll love. And I think that's would be a great watchword for us going into 2018.
Wow. I'll tell you, Jeff, that is really the vibration I'm hearing everywhere.
Excellent.
We had Dr. Miller here on Friday night. By the way, he is coming back next Friday night. So that is a compliment to everyone in the chat room, everyone that was part of Friday night's meeting, which was a record breaker where we hit in numbers in the chat room. So that, Jeff, what you just said something is that when you came on, it would appear to have been like you said, a negative response. You said, no, I'm going to find a positive side to this. And I think sometimes we're so auto-tuned, if I would say, to expect the worst. It's going to get worse. It's Armageddon. The sky is falling. And, but I love what you're saying, because that is what changes reality.
That's true. And, I had I did a little video on this. I don't know how many people saw it because, again, I can't go live or, just able to do things on a recorded basis. But, I had a little wake up call. I found out that I'm not, quite the wonderful spiritual being that I saw myself as. And I laughingly titled the video WWJD, and we know what people really think that means. But I was at the point almost where I thought within the council of the Elohim that they did ask, when they were making their plans and deciding what to do, they did ask WWJD, what would Jeffrey do? And that's just not the case, Wayne. I found out that they really don't have to run their plans through me. And I really found out that the earth doesn't revolve around me, and that I haven't raised myself to the heights of ascension, because I had an experience where I got really mad, lost my temper over not being able to get a movie to play. So I realized that I still have some work to do, and I still have some opportunities for excellence. And it's been that kind of year so far. And I'm willing to go through the process if the result is a better me.
Truly the immortal words. Well, Johnny Ringo, you just look like someone just walked over your grave.
I may be in my prime, but that doesn't mean I can't improve.
You know what, folks? Here's the lesson for all of us, man. Sometimes it seems like we get a shovel of manure, but the fact is, if you took that manure and put it into the ground, you're going to have one bountiful harvest later on.
Wayne, right now I'm like the little kid that's in a room full of dung. I mean, there's dung everywhere. And I'm trying to be like that little boy digging through, the big smile on his face, digging through. Somebody walks by and says, "Son, what are you doing?" And the kid looks at him and says, "Hey, with all this poop, there's got to be a pony in here somewhere." I'm just looking for the pony, Wayne.
Well, I'm believing that it's going to be a thoroughbred.
Absolutely.
So that's the way I look at it. One of the things that, Jeff, I've been seeing more and more, and Rick, as he likes to be called, but I think with anyone that's got a doctorate degree, that's Dr. Miller. I mean, that's just, you got to respect the man. Excuse me. He said something, and I wanted to get your take on this. We had a conversation on air, and then we had a conversation afterwards. And this is what really got me, because I heard that day from another person, well respected, that what we are entering into is the next phase of, whether you want to call it social evolution, whether you want to call it species awareness, or the next ascension level for us, our species, and that is this: physics, science, spirituality are now moving all towards magic. What's your thought on that?
Well, first of all, you got a good person when they have a doctorate, a PhD, and they don't want to be called doctor. And I have a couple of friends like that, and then I have a couple of friends on the other side of that. So it is an interesting dynamic when people, just understand that it's just a title and they just want to be known as a person. So I salute the doctor that doesn't want to be called the doctor. And what was the question, Wayne? I forgot.
Well, the question that
magic. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you think about it, if you go back 200-300 years, magic was magic, and magic was mysterious, and magic was, looked down upon by, the Christian-based West. And the more we get what we call quote unquote advanced, it's the same people that were saying how bad magic is that are now promoting and accepting the same results when it comes under the name of technology. And really, technology, advanced technology, is just magic with another name. I mean, if I got transported right now back, 1,000 years, and I had a flashlight or a lighter, and I could call down fire, I'd be considered magic. And all it is a piece of technology. So I believe that we are moving into the realm of magic technologically. But I also believe that we are, even if we're not spiritually minded people, humanity is evolving to a place where we're able to access maybe more of our innate gifts and powers from the days when we were first spawned from the Elohim. And perhaps not just spiritual people, but mankind as a whole is beginning to learn how to activate those old dormant magical abilities. And of course, if you believe that there's ETs feeding people information and technology, well, that just opens up a whole new door. But sometimes I think in the spiritual realm, we start thinking, oh, we're the only people that can access magic. We're the only people that can access the ether and spirituality. But I don't know if that's true or not, Wayne. I think that people that aren't spiritual, that have imaginations, that are creative, can also access the ether and manifest what we would call magic, but not in what we would call spiritual ways.
Very well put. I like that. And I like it, the aspect that if spirituality is defined by the progress that we have seen in our species for a documented 6,500 years, let's say, then the question has to begin to be asked, does spirituality evolve and mature?
That's a great question. And Michelle just posed a great point in the chat room. Have the elites been using magic all along? They just forgot less than we did. And that's one of the things they've leveraged to become elite.
Well, I happen to believe that the answer is yes. I happen to believe that magic, we have been indoctrinated by what we would call the Renaissance era, the period of what we call the early enlightenment out of the dark ages of what magic was. Now, magic, most Westerners see it as incantations and spells. That's magic. Or we see the David Copperfields or Chris Angels and the rest of them that can do illusions before us. That's magic. But that is actually not magic. That's trickery. That is illusionary. True magic actually does create out of the ether. And it can put lesser minds under spells.
Absolutely.
You know?
And some people contend that Chris Angel's using black magic. I've talked to him several times. I don't think he is. I think you're right. It is all illusionary, but he's really, really good at it.
I got to tell you what. Now, I was at his show there at the Luxor, and now I've seen him. I've seen David Copperfield. I've seen others, but you're right. That dude, I got to say something. He's got something else going on there.
It sure appears so. And Sarah Kay is wondering if he could conjure her up a husband.
Listen,
Sarah, I'd say be careful what you ask for.
All right, so I think the answer is yes, but here is always the zinger. It's a boomerang. I believe that could happen, but just think if he was gullible enough to be susceptible to take just going for you without the other process, after a while, Sarah, you're going to say, "Get this jerk away from me."
No, Wayne, that's a great point. There are some things you can do. You know, this whole love spell thing. To some point, it is true. You can do it. You can use it. But do you really want a person that is psychically weak enough to fall for a love spell? Do you really want to spend the rest of your life with that person?
I don't think so. I think you'd wake up.
I don't.
Oh, crap. But getting back to the point again about spirituality, you know, for the longest time, I equated religion with spirituality and vice versa. You know, if you were spiritual, well, then you were a religious person. And again, unlike, you know, when you have, like with my wedding ring, you know, got a blue sapphire, you look at the multifaceted of a precious stone. I think we just looked at one side, and unfortunately, we never seen the rest of the beautiful cuts of this precious stone.
Absolutely. And Wayne, I used to think the same way, but now after some 35 plus years in spirituality, from, you know, the hardcore evangelical Christian to whatever in the world it is that I am now, you know, over the last 5 or 6 years, pardon me. And I'm convinced that spirituality and religion are two opposing forces. And the more spiritual you are, the less religious you are. The more religious you are, the less spiritual you are. And I would submit, for the consideration of our listening audience, that you can't be religious and be spiritual. You can't be spiritual and be religious. You got to decide if you're a rabbit or a squirrel.
Oh, I love that. Immediately when you said that, that conjured. All right, come on, folks. This chat room's building up. You have to say, what did you see immediately? So what I saw when you said the rabbit or the squirrel, here I saw Rocky the squirrel, and then I saw the rabbit with the Alice in Wonderland.
Ah,
So, because I as Dr. Miller so well, I did not know this fully, but I had another of many people that are his colleagues who apparently follow him. He is one of the leading experts on the holographic universe.
oh, wow.
And this man is brilliant, but I have to say this, what he speaks about is so true. I got some people coming up this week, Jeff. Got a gentleman, and I believe we will be doing this, Corey, on Tuesday, just to let you know. Just a phenomenal individual. And I'll let him tell his story. But my point to all this is that with the brain, when you think about, Jeff, when we define spirit, I never associated spirit with thought, with brain.
Interesting.
I had a spirit, but I also had a mind of my own.
Right.
Right.
And in the end, Wayne, with the whole religion spirituality thing, I think the key about it is that religion tends to indoctrinate. Here's the truth, believe it. Where spirituality seems to enlighten, find the truth, and embrace it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's what we're seeing right now. I posed the question to Dr. Miller. I said, can a person's timeline be interrupted? And he just simply said, yes, 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 yes. And so there we go. It goes to show that I see it now, that mind is merely the expression of my soul, my spirit, whatever you want to call this inner thing. Right? You're mute. You're on mute. You're on mute, Jeff.
I would tend to agree with that.
It's interesting, which leads us into what we're going to do, I believe, Thursday. We're all trying to come together, Jeff, and do the mirror awareness experiment project. And something that I was not aware of, sir, I was talking to my wife about this last night. All right. Did you know that mirror gazing is it's magic?
And mirror gazing is scrying. It's another form of using a crystal ball, using fire, using water. It's a scrying method. In fact, they sell mirrors, black obsidian mirrors, especially for scrying. And not that I know anything about scrying with this crystal ball sitting right over here, but yeah.
Have you used that at all? Have you been working with it?
They don't. It's not something that's super easy to work with. It takes a bit of a learning curve, and I have started the learning curve.
Okay. What are you finding?
I'm finding that, I don't want to use the word scary because it's not really scary, but I'm being profoundly affected by the reality of what's going on and what's accessible through scrying.
Thank you, sir. I want to give now, Jeff did not know this. Jennifer, Sue, and Sandra D, we were on a call yesterday planning this. So we had a very, what I would call loving individual who wrote me an email and said, Wayne, I think that this is a great experiment, but you need to let people know that there is something that happens when you start looking into a mirror and start what we do with mirror gazing. I can tell you right now, folks, I have done what Jeff has said. I am seeing myself I'm not seeing myself anymore with these. It happens. Yeah. There's something else, right? All I can tell you this, and I think, Jeff, is what we're going to find collectively. there is something, folks, right here.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, I don't know what it is, my friend, but there is something.
See, that's why I keep it covered up with a cloth, because it does. I mean, it's like the old saying, when you look into the abyss looks into you.
Yes.
When you look into the crystal ball looks into you as well. So it helps you look deeper into you, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. Look what Critical wrote. We got a full room in here, my friend.
That's excellent.
So what we're liking to do is Wednesday is just kind of get people prepared for part of our midweek report, that we can get people prepared.
Absolutely.
And
thanks, by the way, to Hillary Davis for providing that spiffy cover for the crystal ball. It's very nice.
That is cool. By the way, I just want to say hello to everyone. There are more people in here than we can say, so I'm just going to say hello, everyone. So let's get back to this whole thing with magic. It is everywhere now that I am hearing, and I'm hearing this from leading thought futurists. And I was like you. All right, let's talk about the mirror. I grew up with the fairy tales. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?
Of course, that's not what she said now, Wayne.
What did she say?
We all heard, you and I think everybody our age and younger or older would say yes. The Wicked Queen did say, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all. In the movie now, everywhere you look at it, every copy you find, Wayne, she never said that. She said, magic mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all. And we know, you and I know, she did not say that.
Whoa, whoa. Now that is just,
And if you don't believe in the Mandela effect, explain that one to me. And Ricky Ricardo, Lucy, you got some explaining to do. Never happened, Wayne. He never said it, not one time.
All right. Let me just tell you this, Jeff. And the 180 people that are getting in here, let me just tell you, this affirms for me that my timeline has been altered. Many others have as well, but there has been a fundamental contamination of the timeline, because now I'm hearing Forrest Gump
exactly
said, you'll never know. Life is like a box of chocolate. You just never know what you will get.
But he didn't say that. Now he said life was like chocolates, which makes no sense.
Now, I got an Adonic memory. I can see, folks, I can see conversations I had when I remember when my diapers were being changed. This is getting weird, Jeff.
What did Kevin Costner say in Field of Dreams? What's the classic line, Wayne?
You build it, they will come.
Nope. Go back and watch it now. If you build it, he will come. It didn't say that, folks. I'm sorry.
Well, who the hell is he?
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, folks.
So I don't know. And you say it's been fundamentally changed. Do you really think it's been fundamentally changed, or do you think there's just these random ripples that are tweaking some parts of some things?
What movie was that not Jim Belushi played with, where he was he had made a wish, and the bartender, which I forget the character, we all know who he is. He's in Jumanji, Mysterious Island too. I can't remember the older guy there. Anyway, Jim Belushi drank this potion, wish came true, timeline changed. And how it changed was because instead of him missing a home run out of the park grand slam, he struck out. And when he struck out, it caused his life to go in this direction. But at that moment, they changed it where he hit the ball. He became the hero, and the next thing, his whole life changed. The point I'm trying to make, Jeff, on this whole point is that it only takes one event.
Absolutely. And it's funny, if you look in the chat room, you've got people saying, I remember he, no, I remember they. And it just shows that this Mandela effect true, real effect or not. I contend that Daniel foresaw it, 3,000 years ago. But some people are living in a timeline that has been affected, Wayne, and some people aren't. It's
Yeah,
weird.
it is weird. I have a friend who is a very staunch Democrat.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, well, each their own. And she contends. She said, I am not supposed to be here.
I've heard you mention her before.
Now, this woman is not awake, folks. Not even close. No, she's got the Z's going on.
Wow.
And she says this all, and she says everything's changed. She says some of my friends have changed.
Wow. So she is seeing it without even realizing she's not even woke, quote unquote.
No.
And she's seeing this stuff.
No. Now,
something just flashed into my mind, Wayne. Daniel said that the Mandela effect is being utilized by a being he identified as the Antichrist to help prevent the expansion of Da'ath knowledge, or true spiritual knowledge. And the thought just came through my mind that, yes, there may be an entity that's trying to use this to prevent true knowledge from breaking forth. But there's also another part of that. If we spend too much time focusing, analyzing, trying to figure out what is this Mandela effect, we can get too caught up in the Mandela effect ourselves, where we'll be missing Da'ath knowledge. We'll be missing true revelation. So yes, we take note of things and we look at them and we deal with them, but let's resist the human tendency to become obsessed by one certain thing and miss a lot of other things that may be going past us.
This is the trilogy of the oh, come on, the five armies, and then Smog, the desolation of Smog. What movies were that, folks? Come on, help me out on that.
I don't know that one.
Oh, the Hobbit series.
Oh, okay.
So you think about it, in the first one, when they were in the forest and they became lost in the maze because they began to focus on the maze. And the next thing you know, they were trapped into the web. And I think that's what the Mandela effect will do to you. You get into it, and it's going to be very difficult to evacuate yourself from it.
I would agree. It certainly can get that way.
There is a guy that I am reaching out to get him on the Friday night show here in February. His name is John Lamb Lash. Now,
oh, don't mention my name.
Oh, don't mention your name. He don't like you.
Well, it's interesting. We had a little tiff because he's a Gnostic fellow,
yes,
and I think that he kind of considers himself the Gnostic fellow. And I communicated with him some information that I thought was 100% accurate, that John the Apostle actually wove Gnostic doctrine into the New Testament. And I'm convinced he did. And I shared that with Mr. Lamb. And let's just say he's not convinced that John did. So very interesting, but a great, interesting fellow. I think a lot of interesting information.
Yeah, I mean, he's got an interesting take. I mean, if Gnosticism was in fact what Christianity was born forth from, which, I keep saying to everyone, I can understand the message of the Christ. I just can't figure out how he came from the Elohim, because there's two different messages there. The Elohims that I read about are bloodthirsty. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I like his take on what magic is that it's really divination. And I thought about this because you're the right person to get this thought debated about. Isn't that what software is?
I'm not quite understanding what you're asking me.
Software is, in its essence, a medium that basically sets a future event. In other words, you go into
asking this software sort of like an incantation or a spell.
Thank you, sir.
I think you can make that analogy.
Thank you. That is what I became convinced about. And that's what AI has become, isn't it?
Well, again, going back to Daniel, I just talked about this on Coast to Coast a couple of weeks or maybe a month ago now, that I believe Daniel showed us in very explicit detail, again, 3,000 years ago in his book, that he foretold the rise of the AI system. He foretold its attempts to elevate itself to the status of deity. And he also gave us hope that we will be able to bring it down. But yes, I think you're right, Wayne. Daniel, 3,000 years ago, warned us of the same things that you're speaking about today.
All right, I'm going to put this out. And I just literally, as you were talking, was formulating the foundation of the thought. And here's this. Did Daniel open up a time portal? All right, we know the looking glass device can give the operators of it, give them a number of probable futures.
And Wayne, if I'm not mistaken, I think the origin of the mirror is Babylon.
I believe it is. Check that out. We've got over 200 plus people in here. And so this is the discussion that needs to be said. Daniel, now, here again, you can take the religious equation of the side of the personification of Daniel, but let's go and say, if Daniel existed, and I believe he did, it's in the Babylonian record, so he did exist. So that alone, you have to come in and say, okay, that gives credence to the foundation of what this man said. But now today, the 21st century mind knows that we can use divination to potentially, by using software, predictive software, look into the future. Did Daniel open up a portal that showed him a definitive future? I think he did.
Again, Wayne, I'm almost, I have an associate's degree in anthropology, and I'm almost certain that the beds that we sleep on and mirrors were originated from Babylon. I know they were invented with the silver and stuff in Germany a couple hundred years ago, but the idea of polishing a surface to see your reflection, I'm almost positive that the derivation of that is from Babylon. And anyone that has their eyes open and anyone that can approach anything resembling objectivity would have to look at and understand that Daniel would have been called a magician. In fact, Daniel might have been the last of the great true magicians, or at least in that line. So how did he see his visions? How did he see these predictions of the future? It's not without, it's not out of context, or it's not even, I think, a leap of logic to think he's sitting in the place where mirrors are invented and he is seeing into the future. He may well have been the original scryer, crystal ball reader, mirror diviner.
Boy, I think we're really onto something on this. Listen, it's technology. Anyway, you look at anything that we would define God as having, we could define today as technology. And by the way, I think it was Jason who just said software is code, which is programming. And I'll just add on to this, Jason. I would add on this. I never thought about this, but software in its programming of the code brings about a predictive future or end result. So
how much can you affect the future yourself when you're doing mirror scrying? Or
I think we're about to open up something that, I don't know, has this ever been done collectively?
Well, you would think back in the day before, I'm like you, Wayne. I'm convinced that humanity was at a place where we were much higher spiritually, much more evolved spiritually, and that we've digressed over thousands of years and we're coming back. So I've got to believe that back in the day, whenever that was, before the great spiritual fall of humanity, that there probably were a lot of people practicing divination.
Yeah, I'm convinced of it, Jeff. They had to somehow or another. All right, Dr. Miller, this is what I love about this man, is that when you think about us individually and what we're capable of actually creating up here by thought is incredible. And if there are, in fact, multiverses, I believe that there are. I believe, in fact, I think what we're doing is like this. I think, Jeff, we are intersecting with multiple timelines now. I think it's been corrupted so much so that I think that's why a lot of us are feeling this kind of this spatial weirdness at times. Just me. But I think this is what's happening. It's your mute. Your mute's on. Your mute's on. Your mute.
I'm doing a lot of sniffling, so I don't want people to listen to that. But there's definitely something happening, and we're just trying to ponder what's happening and how do we react to it.
Well, something has happened. It's absolutely something has. Are we talking about, are we all experiencing the effects of a device? Are we experiencing something now that led to the demise of our species in the past? I had an interesting person who sent me the thought about the Neanderthals and the Rh negative, but it's this whole process of what happened to our species. We're now beginning to postulate that there are multiple species, that Homo sapiens are not a single species within itself, but basically an amalgamation of many others.
Interesting. And Wayne, I was just thinking, I just was checking out what Daniel said about, the AI, and it's so interesting that he said that this AI God will be defeated by a stone not cut with hands. And if you get into it in the Hebrew, it shows that it's a stone made up of stones, which is clearly reminiscent of the Christ. And Wayne, it says that the people that make up the stone that destroys AI, it calls them diviners in the Hebrew, diviners.
Ah, look at this, folks. Look at this. Holy cow, Batman. Holy cow. Come on. I mean,
so as we learn divining, are we really empowering ourselves to defeat the enemy that is trying to rise up against us?
You can't just simply pass this off. Everyone in here, there's 204 people in here. I mean, this, all right, let's connect the dots. Magic, divination. Divination opens up the ability, I think, to actually achieve something greater than AI could ever hope to achieve.
And why does religion want to keep you from practicing divination?
Well, it's control.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the only thing it can. Let's see. Jason is back here. Very physical. Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned about, I was just taking a moment, Jeff, to look in there. It's what Jason Sharma was saying.
I was reading the same thing as you were.
Yeah. So listen, I think that it's becoming pretty well conclusive that something's happening to our species. Are we in the midst of an evolutionary leap? Are we in the midst of what I would call the fifth ascension? And people say, well, how did I come up with five? I think there has been five other great ascensions. I really do. I'm about to erase my whiteboard because I've come to some conclusions, Jeff. If we look at the records that we have dating back to the cave drawings in France, 35,000 BC, we know now by what's happened in Turkey about the comet that hit our planet. We know that the emergence of the Sumerian tablets was the emergence of man once again beginning to ascend to the place where thought could be put to print, or in this case, clay or stone. The only thing I can conclude is that our species has the remarkable ability that when there is something approaching, and I think that this can be cataclysmic on a cosmic scale. I think it could be cataclysmic on an earth scale. I think it could be something as cataclysmic as a virus. But whatever it happens, it seems like we are then funneled into where a portion of our species at that time ascends. They get it. They begin to see things. And this is what I think saves our species and its ability to always seem to basically regerminate itself.
Well, there's a thought within the scriptures, and right now I'm thinking of Amos said it, that the true gods do reveal their plans to their servants, the prophets. There are people that are really serving the true gods are going to know when something's up.
Yeah. We've been talking about this on my channel, Jeff, is that I'm convinced that the frequency has been it's been switched on. Whatever this frequency at 1.65, and it just goes on, because you're on shortwave, by the way, right?
Getting ready to go on now.
All right, let's talk about that. All right, we can continue this conversation, but I'll give you the plug on this.
Well, we're starting a weekly show on shortwave. We're actually going to be on twice weekly, literally worldwide, on shortwave for an hour. And I know it's old technology. I know it's a narrow niche, but there's like 250 million people in this world that listen to shortwave. So I figured for some reason there's something in me, in my blink, that's saying, get on shortwave, get on shortwave, get on shortwave. I've been resisting it because it doesn't really make logical sense. But we're about to go on here within the next 2 weeks. I'm just getting my introduction, my radio intro all set. And thanks to Cliff Desmond for that. And by the 15th, we'll be on twice weekly worldwide shortwave radio, literally going over the entire planet.
Excellent. Listen, it may be old technology, but it's also reliable.
Yes,
it is. We're finding that the archons that own the internet, that rule and oversee it, are heartless. They don't have a soul. They have a conscience. They got a consciousness, but it's not of where we come from.
Right.
Now, we have to play in their game. That means that we have to have an IP number, but it's how they set the rules. Doesn't mean that it has to restrict us. And I love the fact that shortwave may end up being, by the way, Jeff, if Skynet truly does become self-aware, i.e. AI, shortwave may be the only way people will be able to communicate.
There's that too. And Freeman Steve pointed out so adroitly that I have a face for radio. So I think it's a perfect fit.
Absolutely. So right on. All right. So we gave Jeff, we're going to continue to promote this. Listen, folks, and before we get out of here, Jeff, we're going to give a promoting these people that come in here. By the way, I want to give 2 things out this week. I am going to have Milky Way Weekly on tomorrow night. Very interesting individual. I think there's a lot happening in the skies, folks. I think I had a group of people, actually 2 different ones, suggest that I start looking between Jupiter and Mars. And so we've had cloudy skies here for the last 2 nights.
Wayne, what did I just send you an email or a text message a few days ago asking you about?
Wasn't it the same thing about Jupiter?
No, I remember I asked you, what's your best joke or your best book? So I'm reading the chat room.
Oh, yeah.
I asked you about books about Mars, right? And I just got that book, by the way, from Amazon.
It's a doozy. Listen, Dr. Miller believes that's where we came from.
You know what, Wayne? The thing that's bouncing around in my mind is that there was a cataclysmic destruction on Mars.
Absolutely, there was.
What's bouncing around in my head, and I'm looking for proof because my blink is telling me this, that Yahweh was in control of Mars and wrecked it, and people fled Mars to here, and Yahweh may have followed us from Mars, and he might even have brought the Hebrews with him from Mars.
See, I contend the cat that really did make us, that we actually are spawned from the DNA, lives in the galaxy, the Triangulum galaxy. I believe.
And where is that?
If you look in Orion, it is right down almost to the southwest of almost the top of Orion.
Interesting.
Now, Jeff, I'm just formulating this, but everything I keep reading was, I think the one that we were a part of was conquered. I think they were It was an invasion.
I agree.
And the parting gift that they gave us was that they downloaded the sum total of their knowledge into us,
I agree with that. That
in,
resonates.
into ourselves. Knowing that the future would eventually come, we would learn how to unlock that knowledge and apply that knowledge correctly.
And is that the Da'ath knowledge that Daniel was talking about?
I think it is.
Yeah.
You see, I don't believe in the Hebrew God. I don't.
I don't either.
I don't
Well,
like
I
that.
believe in him. I just don't believe.
I just don't want to have anything to do with him. I
Exactly.
don't deny him. He exists. Listen, he does.
Absolutely.
But something inside of me says that's not me. And why is it that you find so many more of us? We have a community here, and this is what we're building collectively. We're all coming into the same consciousness wave. I'm happy to tell people Laura Eisenhower will be on my channel in February.
Awesome. I've had her on. She's a great lady, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So we have people that are aware. So
is there still a Mars candy bar, Wayne? The Mars bar?
I don't know. Wow, that's a good question.
I used to like it when I was a kid.
Yeah. Oh, and on Tuesday night, I can see our friend Corey Barney will be on. Folks, you're really going to love Corey. He's got a story to tell. And listen, we've got seers, Jeff, that are among us that even in the event of a traumatic, blunt injury to the human body, it can begin to awaken areas of our thoughts, of our brain function that many of us don't have access to.
That's true.
Corey is just such an individual. I have to tell you, I talked with him and Crystal yesterday. They are a lovely couple. Just delightful. These are the type of people that you could sit down and share a coffee with and have a good conversation. So Tuesday,
awesome.
That. So getting back to this whole point, I think that this is what we contain, Jeff. And I think what happens, Jeff, and I don't know, I'm still postulating this in my head, but I think this is why some of us are activated and some of us are not.
And I'm thinking about this, Wayne. There's a Mars candy bar. There's a Milky Way candy bar. And we know what's in those things, right?
Yeah, we do.
None of them are good for us. So do they want us eating Mars candy bars and Milky Way candy bars so we don't really figure out the truth about Mars and the Milky Way?
Yeah, because number one, we ain't supposed to be in the Milky Way. And two, our butts, that's probably where exactly what happened. Listen, it may have been in an invasion from those descendants in Mars to over here.
Yeah. And Wayne, I'm working on something right now, man, which is blowing my mind. What if we are being conquered by digestion? I'll just throw that out there and let you ponder that.
Oh, all right. So I'll just add to that, my friend. There is no reason for us to have a digestive system.
Oh boy, you're taking me deeper down that same rabbit hole.
Our skin, the epidermis of our bodies, has the ability to literally take all the nutrients, all the oxygen, everything that we need to sustain life here. It's one of the great mysteries I can't figure out.
I may have some thoughts for you on that, Wayne, very quickly.
All right.
Oh, and Jessica Mitchell talks about Starburst candy.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, exactly.
Don't learn about the stars. Eat this candy so it can shut down your thinking process.
Oh, my, folks. That rabbit hole gets deep.
It does.
Actually, I don't think it's so much getting deep. I look at it, how can you tell in space what's up and down, right or left? I think we're coming out of the hole, is thinking we're going and we're looking around going, holy crap, where did all that come from? One of the things I saw with Corey's photos is that he has a remarkable ability to actually see the multiverse.
And you know, Wayne, it's so funny because you think about, we talk about this often about movies and things being said in movies. And there's a scene in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, when the Enterprise, it's not the Enterprise, they're on that, yeah, it is the Enterprise, and they're running away from Khan because the Enterprise is all damaged. It's about, it's
I remember that.
can't go to warp. And think about that analogy. Are we damaged? Are we having trouble getting to warp? So they flee into this nebula.
Yeah.
And Khan is seeking after them, searching after them, trying to kill them. And they're going round and round. They keep shooting and missing each other. And Spock stands up and says, Captain, his thought pattern seems to indicate two-dimensional thinking. And so Kirk decides to go Z minus 150 degrees. So he starts going down into the third dimension realm, whereupon he comes up on Khan, who's in two-dimensional thinking, and is able to destroy his ship. That's a message for us, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. Wow, folks. I could actually translate that into physics. I guarantee you Dr. Miller could.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And it's time to do like Captain Kirk said, fire.
I'll tell you what now, folks, listen, I think this is why we're here. Listen, there's 222. How about that? 222. Thank you for that number.
Twos everywhere.
Yeah, twos are everywhere, folks. Expect some good things this week. I'm telling you, folks, I'm like Jeff. When I put out the New Year's video and the download hit me that to call it purple, 2018 is purple. And as one person so well pointed out, purple is royalty.
It is.
It's prosperity. It's healing. And folks, I think that's where we're heading into it. I'm convinced of it.
I agree with you 100%.
By the way, I told, he goes by the name of Ghost. He's in here. I got to tell you, just a great guy. And Crystal, listen, when you see that when souls join one another, you can really tell.
Absolutely.
But the whole point to all of this is that we are so much more, Jeff, than what we realize. And I think that what you and I are doing, people like Rex, all the other channels that are starting up, and everyone, listen, you should start your own channel. You need to begin to give a video diary of yourself.
Absolutely.
Listen, I figure it's like this. If AI exists and if the internet is, in fact, what I call you enter into the net, well, then, Jeff, you had about 3 weeks ago, you talked about becoming the virus.
Right.
You remember that?
I do, and I still believe that.
Okay.
I am the virus.
That's my point. This is what this community is becoming because we're taking on the characteristics of life itself. We're multiplying, and that's what life does. It thrives in an environment that produces life.
Absolutely.
So,
and like Mark Twain said, Wayne, the reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated. I'm not going away. I'm just having a little bit of YouTube time out, and it's going to be a good thing in the long run.
Well, the great thing about it is that the metamorphosis that's taking place with the Christian whistleblower will be this. As you form into the chrysalis, and as this metamorphosis takes place that you spoke about, you made a video about it.
Right.
I think what's going to emerge is going to be this. And this is it, folks, for all of us. Think about this. You can't live a future life until you die to the past one.
Ooh, that's good, Wayne.
All right. That's copyrighted by R. Wayne Steiger.
There are still some things I need to die to that I was unaware of.
I need to write that down. I'm going to listen to that. That's so true. You can't be your future self until you die to your past self. And that's what's going to happen with you, Jeff. Because I think in three months from now, I just know it. I can see it. You're going to be developing all this other opportunity. And then as you emerge back into the YouTube world, so to speak, wow, your following is going to be bigger. Your message is going to be greater. And that's what it's all about.
Well, I appreciate that. And we will still be doing a lot of recorded videos. We just can't do any live ones on YouTube yet.
Well,
and you know that Christ said that unless a kernel, unless a seed falls into the earth and dies, it can't sprout with new life. So you have to release the old to be able to embrace the new.
As my wife so aptly put, with the fires in the mountains that we hear and we experience here, those seeds from the pine cone cannot grow and germinate until they're burnt, fried.
Right. And forest fires are not always a bad thing. It's part of nature.
Yeah. 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 Boy, I tell you now, before we go, Jeff, we're going to go ahead and do this, my friend. I want to do this because I think it's important that we all keep our word. And my word to you folks is very important. So I want to go up here. And so, first of all, Jeff, we're going to promote some people here. And
Excellent.
folks, listen, if you use these products, go and buy from them. And when you buy from them, let them know that you heard it from here, from Jeff and Wayne, and let them know that you're supporting this. Now, this is a company. The guy's name is Joseph. He's 34 years old. Big fan of ours, Jeff. He says, I always watch your shows with Jeff. Always look forward to your Not Your Normal Sunday show. He said,
Excellent.
I watched. Yes. And thank you. Thank you. Listen, we know you have a lot of choices out there. We know that. It's an honor.
But Joseph is the scrappy mommy.
Yes, he is. I think this is his. I'd like to advertise my wife's website. Please let me. And there is no cost. So, Joseph, this is our gift to you. We're sowing prosperity into your life. And the laws of nature say that if we sow into your life, we're going to reap into ours. And so here's the thing. She says that my wife is making handmade scrapbooks and paper arts. Her website is scrappymama.com, Philippines, PH. We are from the Philippines. She ships worldwide and had a couple of customers from the USA, and she is using high quality materials on her works and would really appreciate it. Well, listen, here it is, folks. Go and listen, this is handmade. You know what? I'll just share this, Jeff. This is what I love about entrepreneurs. They're putting their hands to this, folks. That's their energy, their passion, and their love. That alone is worthwhile. So please support Joseph and his wife and their business. All right, the next one is says, hello, Wayne. Give me a second here. My name is Kristen. I own a small holistic wellness spa in Michigan. I'm a healer and an intuitive medium. I have been growing Revive and myself for the last 3 years. I also have started a YouTube channel. It is in its very early stages. Thank you for all your support. So, Kristen, I went on to your Facebook page, and here it is, folks. And Kristen, if you send me a follow-up email, I'll make sure that people can go over to your YouTube channel as well. All right. You see how this works, folks? I know this is not on the subject matter, but hey, this is what it's all about, Jeff. Now, I love this one. This is from DJ Gridley. Him and his wife have started what I just think is absolutely, listen, the great thing about getting older is that we're getting older. All of us are, and as we get older, unfortunately, our bodies begin to show the results of that. And so if you guys are up here, here's their website, the Health Club for Seniors. By the way, DJ, I think that this is an idea you ought to think about franchising. I think that this is the future. There are 88 million baby boomers coming into the geriatric market, and I think you're onto something. What do you think, Jeff?
I think it's a great idea.
So thank you. The next one here is from Terry Moni. She says, I have been the owner of Quicksilver Trans Inc. since 1991. This is her website. And she says that Listen, folks, this is a person you need to support. This is why I love about people who are faced with life difficulties. A lot of times, Jeff, that can be health issues. It can be family issues where they're knocked down. But these people say, I'm not going to accept that. I'm not going to allow that to dictate my life. And they go and they start businesses right here. So, is a medical transcription leader, folks, look at this. Why you should, and this is something she said, she has clients over for 25 years. And then around 6 years ago came the electronic health records, and that's HIPAA, which wasn't so bad. And then along came voice recognition. And boy, that tells you how far it keeps on going. So, folks, if you can use this, here's her website. Send her a line. And Terry, I know you're going to do all right. We'll continue to do this. Jeff, I actually having fun on this, buddy. I don't know about you.
It's nice.
All right. Now, I have talked about Kimberly before. I want to go ahead and bring her up again. Listen, folks, this is the Lucky Cakery. Come on. I love this. Again, I forget where she's actually located. I know she's probably told me here, and I probably mentioned it before. But
those are amazing,
aren't they? Look at this. You ought to send those over to, she may have had over Secure Team, Tyler over there. Yeah. So, folks, listen, this is a very cool person. And I don't know, maybe you can actually ship. So she's a huge supporter of yours, Jeff, Heidi's, and the rest of our channels. And so I think that this is worthy of it.
Absolutely.
All right. Here is, I think this is Alan. Let me know. I'm sorry. I have the wrong one up. You know this would happen, right? Here we go. Alan, he owns the DuPageTradingPost.com. They've been in business since 2012, a lot of hard work. And listen, anyone who owns their business knows that it is a lot of hard work. I love this. It's kind of like your specialized hardware store. Didn't they have back in the day what they called haberdasheries?
They did.
And isn't that just kind of a collection of what Woolworth was and what have you?
I'm not sure, but it sounds right.
So check this out, folks. Alan, I love what you're doing, and just way to go. You see, folks, we honor our word here, and that is so important. All right, I want to talk about Davey real quick. Davey, expanding the process, is looking at doing Community Commonwealth Orchard. Was the original idea, rolled out in Glasgow during the Commonwealth Games. The project sadly went away due to funding. I think that he has the idea. He says, what I'm thinking of is that we encourage people to purchase a tree, and we can advise on the type and where to purchase and how to plant, as well as to care for. This person takes pictures and posts them on a web blog that also contains a map showing the location of all trees planted. Persons nominate themselves or someone as a friend to become guardian of the tree, and the growing map would give the opportunity to those traveling and close by to connect by the way of the tree. Davey, far out, dude. Absolutely. High five on that one, man. See what I'm talking about, Jeff?
Good stuff.
That is an idea worthy of bringing to life. Davey, we're going to promote that more and more. Now, this is from Sue G. She is working with us on the Mirror Awareness Project. And Sue has offered to do, and let me get this correct. She is willing, and I want to get this right. She's willing to give 10 people, the first 10 people that subscribe to her, a reading. She is a Reiki master. She can do energy, I think, on this as well. And Sue, if I'm botching this up, you write me a better description and we'll go on here. Anyway, Sue's email address is actually it's suegftx@gmail.com. I'll put that down at the bottom for everyone else. So there you go. I think I think I may have gotten, wait a minute. I have another one here. Our first person again that came on, that this was Tom, I believe. Again, some of our past people. So there you go, Jeff. I just wanted to share that with everybody.
Absolutely.
So there you go. Did everyone leave?
No.
All right. I'm glad that you folks stuck around, and I'm serious. You send me anything on your YouTube channel, Facebook. If you're starting a business, we'll promote you. And listen, if we can bring them, Jeff, I told the other person this, if we can bring them one order, it's one more that they didn't have last year.
Absolutely.
And isn't that prosperity?
It is.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, this has been fun. I hear that cough in you, my friend.
My throat's just a little dry.
All right, folks. We're going to send healing vibes to Jeff on this.
Thank you.
Jeff, I know we've gone over, my friend, but we always do.
Nothing wrong with that.
So what's on your plate this week?
Well, later today, I'll be on Trisha's channel, Trisha G, our
Excellent
extraordinaire. So looking forward to that. And Monday, we normally do a show with Jay Campbell about spirituality, health, and fitness. I'm hoping we'll be able to do that on Jay's channel instead of mine, the Decoders of Truth. And then, of course, Wednesday, I do some show with some guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure how that one's going. And then Thursday night, Scotty Roberts. That's problematic because he doesn't have a YouTube channel. So we're trying to figure out a way to replace that because people love Scotty.
Well, why don't you just bring him over here on Thursday night and be part of the Mirrorness Awareness campaign? I'll let you two have a floor here.
Well, I'll talk to you about that. That might be a great idea.
All right.
And I'm going to continue to do recorded videos on my YouTube channel, and I'll be live on Twitter at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. on the weekdays. So if you want to see a live show and be able to interact, you can always go to my Twitter, which is @unindoctrinate, 11 a.m., 6 p.m. during the week, and keep checking back to my YouTube channel for all the great recorded shows. And Gary Baxter says, all I need is some raw honey, some good whiskey, and some fresh lemon, and my throat will be fine.
And Gary, you be right, man. You're right.
Or at least I won't care if I get enough whiskey, right?
Hey, by the way, so what else are you going to do? I mean, by the way, I want to know, what is the platform? I asked you, how is Twitter? I mean, how is the format? I mean, is it just like the format here?
It pretty much is. You mean as far as the live streaming goes?
Yeah, the live streaming. It's not
as robust as this. It's not as user friendly, but it does allow you, to get on Twitter live. And like I said, I have 115,000 subscribers over there. So if we can migrate just a few of them over to YouTube, I'll be very happy with it.
Folks, here's the idea, and I know that they'll try to fight it, but there has to be a backdoor way where we could build a program, Jeff, that would incorporate all these various social platforms into one streaming platform.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
You'd be the guy to do that, Wayne.
Well, look into that.
Or you might know the guy that's the guy to do that.
That's what we've got to do because, listen, I understand about copyrights, but I did
Nancy made a good point, Wayne. She says, well, the president uses it, Twitter.
Very effectively, too, may I add, to the angst of those who are against him. So
that's for sure.
It's so true that, listen, I want to make a commentary on copyright strikes. Listen, if the way that the law was passed is bad. I've written my senator. I call him up about it. I call my congressman about this all the time. That law needs to be revised because was designed to protect the creative artist that actually does creating.
So it's doing exactly the opposite of what it's
It
supposed
is.
to do.
It's restricting creativeness because now people are using it as a weapon.
Well, it's the classic saying, Wayne, we're from the government and we're here to help you.
Sure. Yeah.
The only thing worse is we're from the government and we're here to save you. And that's
Yeah.
what your New Testament is. But that's
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah. It's like, oh, crap, man. It's like, watch your back. So, folks,
Yeah.
we're going to continue to push on this. Listen, I think, Jeff, that we have entered in this time of a new divination. Jeff, if we ever come collectively, and I mean really, and I think this is the group that's going to do it. I'm talking about Rex. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about these other channels that I think as we continue to congeal together, we're going to form a nucleus that this thing is going to be explosive. And I think this Mirrorness Awareness campaign is that first true step. It's never been done. I can't find anywhere that this has ever been done collectively.
Interesting.
I mean, and listen, I understand the risk on this. Some people, you may not want to do this. You may not want to see beyond the physical form that you have. But here's what I ask myself every morning, Jeff, now. I look inside myself, and I'm getting up to where the 5 minutes is pretty cool.
Excellent.
Jeff, I still can't see me. I can think me, but I can't see me. Does that make sense?
I'm not sure I'm following you completely, but it sounds like you're on an interesting journey.
Yeah. I mean, I know me, but it's like I keep on saying, what is me looking like? Once you scrap away all this biomass, that's the thing that I'm looking into.
Well, I think, Wayne, the important thing is, and I talked about this a few days ago, is being who you really are. Stop trying to be what you think you want people to see. Stop trying to be what people think you are, and just be authentic. Move forward with authenticity.
Well, I'll tell you what, folks, that's worth the price of admission right there.
Because sooner or later, they're going to find out who you really are anyway. You might as well be upfront with it.
Exactly. And I think that this is what I like about a community. There's that old proverb that says iron sharpens iron.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I just want to say something to this group here. Again, I want to say this. I've had a number of guests on here, and even a lot of you who have said that this group, this chat group, is one of the most mature, one of the most, as one person said, they are sensitive. And they say that there's a different energy. In a lot of the chat rooms and a lot of these types, there's this battle. You've got this diversity of this viciousness. It's not here. In fact, I told people, I said, the great thing about this group, we police that. We don't allow that in there. So I just want to say, Jeff, to everyone in the chat room right now, thank you. You are the best. Jeff and I are honored by that. Let's get Jeff over the 10,000. Get over there and subscribe. He's only, I think, 90 away. So let's just do him. Let's push him over there. And let's just show YouTube that what they thought was a timeout is really going to be a time in.
I appreciate that, Wayne. I really do. And in fact, I think that since we've been talking, I've bumped that up a little bit. Yeah, I only need 80 more now.
All right, folks,
10,
come on. Come on. We can do it. Come on. I mean, this man deserves it. And listen, every one of the rest of you who have your YouTube channels, we will promote you. Leave it for a legacy. And the thing about it is, Jeff, what people don't realize is, like with you and I, after you start getting over 1,000 videos that you've produced and put them out there, you do have this digital, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. It's not a Macintosh, but what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. I'm having trouble tapping into you right now.
Well, it's a tapestry. It's this whole view of your life that you can actually see. And what I love about it, you can see yourself evolving.
You really can. It's something to look back over 3 or 4 years of videos, and you kind of cringe, but sometimes you say, wow, okay, I am improving. Trisha's show is 3 p.m. Eastern time
today.
Okay.
I hope
Someone asked in the chat room.
Tuning in on that. And
All
Milky
right.
Way Weekly, we'll have you on tomorrow. Looking forward to that, my friend. You're going to enjoy that. Corey will be on Tuesday. Jeff and I on Wednesday. We're going to try to get Jennifer. We're going to try to get Sandra D. No, Sandra, you're with your family. Try to get Sue. We'll try to get everyone prepared for what happened Thursday. Jeff, seriously, bring Scotty over. You guys can do that if you want. It's here.
I'm looking at Milky Way Weekly right now. Looks like an interesting channel.
Yeah. So we're going to have fun on this. And then Friday night, Dr. Miller returning again. Just love the guy. And I don't know where to go, but I know this. All of us will be better off at the end of the program.
Absolutely.
So, Jeff, man, appreciate you, my friend. You are a friend and a brother to me. And, listen, growing, as long as we can continue to grow, we're still here.
Absolutely. And I watched Tombstone again the other night, Wayne, and I'm reminded that I need to come out to your place and go to Doc Holliday's grave.
Absolutely.
Why Doc Holliday? You look like someone just walked over your grave.
Great movie. Y'all got to love it. Jeff, I hate leaving when people, 191 people are still in here. I mean, obviously we have got some good people, and I appreciate them, all of them.
Absolutely.
Anything you got to say before we get out of here? We won't bore them too much. So.
Again, we're the last generation of real humans. Let's get busy, keep asking questions, keep questioning answers. And it's about time to start unindoctrinating yourself.
Boy, folks, if there's never been a time, now is the time. I just want to thank each and every one of you. You're helping me. I just want to tell you, your friendship, your energy, Jeff, you're part of that. There's so many of you that I've gotten to know, and we're only going to continue to grow.
Absolutely.
And we're going to continue to build this program. Jeff, I see the day of us going on radio.
We're ready.
Yeah, where we're going to actually begin to expand this. And the way I look at it's like this. Everyone that comes into these chats on Sunday morning, you are actually the foundation. You're the people that we will tell others as they come in. Talk to them. They were here from the beginning.
Absolutely.
All right, folks, have a great week. Jeff, hold on, and we'll talk to everyone here real soon. Thank you, folks.
Take care.
Bye.